Hi, I'm Lisa Meltzer Penn. I'm from the California Writers Club, and we are pleased to be in partnership with the San Mateo County Public Libraries to bring you stories from our anthology series, Fault Zone. I'll be reading you a story from Fault Zone Uplift today. The Prisoner. Wedged into the side yard of Uncle Bill's driveway is a sloping granite boulder, the breadth of a fat pony. I get out of the car and press my palm to the surface of the boulder like I'm greeting an old friend. Pocked and pebbly, the granite's still warm from the afternoon sun. When my aunt and uncle moved here, Aunt Lola picked out the biggest hunk of rock she could find to sink into the yard. It made their house easy to spot in a lineup of traditional colonials. The boulder was her trademark, stalwart and serene where she was restless and fidgety. She's been gone a decade, and I still need reminding. My cousin Marnie opens the door. Marnie looks me up and down. "Hey, Allison," she says. It's a year since my last visit, but that's Marnie for you. She takes my covered dish of stew and brings it to the kitchen. "He's in the den," she calls over her shoulder. I find my uncle watching a football game in his favorite leather chair. The TV is loud. I take a deep breath and muster up a cheerful, "Hello, Uncle Bill, what's the score?" He doesn't answer. Does he hear me? Does he remember me? He's not always himself these days. His hands shake, his arms are bony, and though I've braced myself, it's still a bit of a shock to see him this way. On the TV, it's first down, and the quarterback is sacked. Uncle Bill groans. The timer on the screen shows 12 minutes to go, but in game time, this could take a while. I take a seat on the couch. Looking out from the bookshelves is a collection of framed photos from both of our families when we were kids. In those days, we spent a lot of time at each other's houses. We visited for birthday parties, Saturday afternoons, and holidays. When Marnie and I reached our teens, we got drunk in the woods behind the house and lolled on the boulder, laughing and gazing at the spinning stars. Marnie stretched her hand to the sky. "Could I take a star?" she said. "Sure," I answered. "Why not?" Now, my cousin grabs the remote and turns off the TV. "Dad," she says, "Allison came to visit. Aren't you going to say hello? She brought her famous stew." There's a vague uh-huh from Uncle Bill, but when Marnie says, "Allison is Uncle Eddie and Aunt Jean's daughter, remember?" Then his eyes lock on mine. He leans forward, opens his mouth, but it takes a while for any words to come out. "Have you heard anything from the outside?" he whispers. "Anything at all?" He glances at Marnie, then back at me. "I'm being held prisoner. She won't let me go." He collapses back in the chair, still watching me like a hawk. A weighted belt is draped over his lap, and I wonder for just a second if what he says is true. Marnie rolls her eyes. "Dad, you're not being held prisoner. We were just at the doctor's this morning." He waves her off and turns to me again. "Tell your father," he pleads. "Tell him to get me out of here. Will you do that?" Something on the carpet catches my eye just then. A transparent orange-tinted globe rolls into the den and around my uncle's foot, powered by a fluffy, furiously scrabbling rodent. The animal rolls a path to the middle of the room, glares at me through the air holes, and then rolls out again. I burst into laughter. "What is that thing?" "An exercise ball," says Marnie. "But what's in it?" "A chinchilla?" "When did you get a chinchilla?" Marnie smiles for the first time since I've been here. "A few months ago. That girl can roll for hours. I think she knows she could have been made into a fur coat. Society ladies used to love chinchilla furs. I would never wear one, but their coats are softer than anything." "Really?" I say. "Even mink?" "How about your mother?" breaks in my uncle, his hands drumming the arms of the chair. "Does she know anyone? Can she get me out of here?" My fingernails bite into my palm. "Uncle Bill, I don't think so, but She told me to tell you you're not being held prisoner. As the lie exits my lips, I press my hand over my heart. The words as useless as his hopes of escape. What would Aunt Lola have said if she were here? She was the one person in the family who always cut to the chase, the only one who understood me as a child, better than my parents did, better than she did her own children. Both of us were a little sharp-edged and impatient, both needing an anchor to this place we would someday leave, a boulder to hold fast to until then. These days, the boulder anchors only Uncle Bill and Marnie. Marnie, whose star brought her home again. Marnie, who, contrary to plan, merged back into the household where she had grown up. The boulder failed to keep my aunt, or me either, for that matter. I eye the belt across my uncle's lap again. Marnie, is that a restraining device? Of course not, she says. It just keeps him safe so he doesn't fall out of the chair. Dad, you're not being held prisoner. This is your home. You live here. Uncle Bill shakes his head. A photo on the shelf shows him young and fit, his marble still in place. I will remember him like that. He glances down at the chinchilla rolling by. The ball bumps his foot again and then adjusts direction and maneuvering around it. Marnie grabs the ball. She unlatches a miniature gangplank that swings to the floor like in Close Encounters of the Third Kind. The chinchilla emerges wrapped in her fist. Here, Marnie says, and drops the creature into my hands. She likes to be petted. How do you know it's a she? Marnie shrugs and heads to the kitchen. My fingers sink into the chinchilla's silvery coat. The creature is ridiculously light and fluffy. Its ears are floppy and smooth, its belly pure white, and as promised, the fur is more luxurious than mink, rabbit, alpaca, cashmere, silk, or anything I've ever touched. In an instant, I understand why ladies wanted them next to their skin, why they coveted them by the hundreds. With their fur, I would line my underwear and gloves and pajamas. I'd sleep under them at night. I squeeze a little too hard and feel the tom-tom of the chinchilla's tiny heart beating in my fingers. Marnie returns with a bowl of stew for her father and tucks a napkin around his neck. Then she stuffs the chinchilla back in the ball and snaps the little gangway shut. The chinchilla takes a tentative step, then starts up its circuitous journey again. The stew seems to calm my uncle, and he no longer talks of escape. Maybe he was just hungry. It's time for me to go, and I stand up from the couch. Uncle Bill looks at me from his TV tray, a spoon halfway to his mouth. Come back and see me again, he says, as if everything is fine now. I will, Uncle Bill. I give my cousin a hug. Let me know how things are going. Marnie stiffens. Sure, she says, or you could call once in a while. How would I manage in her place, I wonder? Uncle Bill turns the game back on. 3 minutes left. I'm about to walk out the front door when the industrious chinchilla rolls toward me in its orange-tinted ball. Outside, it's orange dusk, that infinitesimal pause between day and night, when a daring escape seems almost possible. The creature could make a break for it, bump down the front steps in its ball, roll past Aunt Lola's boulder and away down the road. The driveway and the road go downhill from here. It would be easy. But the chinchilla has no interest in deviating from its prescribed path. It continues rolling through the dining room and the living room before circling back to the den for a touchdown at my uncle's foot.